All right, why don't we go ahead and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Mr. Matias, would you call the roll?
Yes, sir. Dr. Fell.
Present.
Dr. Flores.
Present.
Mr. LeGrand.
Yes.
Matias, yes. Pastor Moody.
Present.
Dr. Randalls.
Present.
Mr. Ross.
Present.
Ms. Slade.
Present.
President Baker.
Here.
Dr. President Baker.
All right, Reverend. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Support.
Just voice vote there.
Aye.
Aye. Everybody approve? Aye.
Aye.
Great. Okay, we have a lot on our agenda tonight and some important things. And so why don't we go ahead and get started with celebration. Superintendent, no?
Dr. Baker and members of the board, I would like to ask Rick Noel to come forward, please.
All right, Superintendent Neal, President Baker, members of the board, I'm thrilled tonight to share with you our third grade language artist program, which is our partnership with the Graham. So I would like to invite Mr. Dirk Hoffius, a longtime supporter and member of Graham, to join me up front, along with Barb Wissey, a retired Grand Rapids teacher and integral part of the partnership with Graham. So if you'll come up, Barb. Before we get started, I would be remiss. I would like to ask the following individuals who are in our audience to stand to be recognized. You know, no public-private partnership can happen without lots of people behind the scenes supporting the work. And I'd ask if Mary Lupe would stand, Mary and Jim Nelson would stand, please. Patty Betts, if you would stand, and Joy Udine, if you would stand. And can we please acknowledge their Now I'm going to turn the microphone over to Mr. Hoffius.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My purpose is just to give you a little introduction to Language Artists, which is a creative, collaborative initiative between the Grand Rapids Art Museum, Kendall College of Art and Design, and the Grand Rapids Public Schools. It's using Graham's art collection to build essential literacy skills, such as the ability to use descriptive language to compare and contrast, to highlight conflict and resolution, and to develop a narrative structure. Graham believes that art can have a transforming role for students of all ages, yours and mine, and especially third graders. Our team's goal is to create programming and resources for educators that promote student achievement while also providing exposure to the collection of the Grand Rapids Art Museum.
Valerie, can you switch seats with Valerie? And we'll...
Sure.
We want to highlight a student rather than, you know, all those words sound nice from adults, but we learned after our first year that you learn more about the program from hearing the kids' actual work and seeing their work. It is my great honor to introduce Valerie Verville to you. I'm Barb Wissey. I'm the language arts consultant on the project with the Graham team on language artists. And we're so grateful to be here. This is our 5th year. We've just concluded our 5th year, and it's very nice of you to give us the opportunity to be here again. I'm the lucky one who, after we choose our finalists, gets to go to the schools and work with the kids to help them prepare their oral presentations for the celebration at Graham and for tonight. And Valerie is one of our finalists this year, and I'd just like to introduce her for just a second. When I worked with Valerie to prepare her for tonight's presentation and the presentation at Graham, I asked her to tell me a bit about her artwork. She said that Ms. Ford taught her class about foreground, middle ground, and background, so as she worked in art class, she started getting an idea for her story's setting and conflict right away. In her image, you can clearly see the horizontal areas she created showing the three lands that you'll hear figure prominently in her story. She also told me that she enjoyed creating an animal that didn't really exist so that she could use her imagination to create something that was plain and basic at first, then really came to life when you added all the colors and textures. When asked, she told me her favorite subject is art. It takes things off my mind, she said. She shared that her mom is artistic, so she must have gotten her interest and confidence in art from her. She went on to tell me other things about school that she liked, and I asked, "Oh, are you one of those people who get up in the morning and you just can't wait to get to school?" And she said, "Oh, no, I am not a morning person." But she did admit that she loved school. She told me she hardly needed a plan for her story. By having my artwork right in front of me when I wrote, she said, the story just sort of fell out of my head. Mr. Norrising, her teacher, gave her feedback several times so that she could do some revisions, but it didn't change that much from what she wrote at the beginning. It just got better, she said. I am pleased to introduce our finalist for 2015, Valerie Verville.
Hello, my name is Valerie Verville. I go to Shawmut Hill School. My teacher's name is Mr. Norsing, and my art teacher's name is Miss Ford. I'll read my narrative first, then I'll read my compare and contrast piece. Calvin the Dragon Monkey. One sunny morning on the middle ground, there Calvin stood. He's a dragon monkey. He is a strange-looking creature with a tail, body, and wings of a dragon, and head and legs of a monkey. Calvin has a colorful body with all the colors of the rainbow. He has furry legs and has a head that is soft as a kitten. Calvin also has a large tail, large wings, large eyes, and has a lot of orange, red, and black colors all over his body. His body, wings, and tail are rough because of all the scales covering them. Calvin is a very special animal in many ways. He can breathe fire, fly for an entire day without eating and drinking. Another special thing Calvin can do is speak all languages of the world. Calvin lives where there are volcanoes, lots of trees and grass. There are only monkeys and dragons where he lives. Calvin eats bananas and all types of meat that he could find. This is how Calvin got this way. There was once 3 lands that existed in the world: the Dragon Land, Middle Land, and Monkey Land. There was a dragon named Cal and a monkey named Vin. They were both 10 years old, and they were both told the legend of the mix. The legend says if there is a place where 2 different types of animals would be happy and the 2 animals go there, they would get mixed into one animal. They would get mixed because the middle ground was a mixed-up magical place. Cal and Vin were tremendously scared. They even tried not to look in the direction of the middle ground. Then one day, Cal and Vin took a walk around their land. All of a sudden, they tripped on the middle ground. Boom! When they rose up from the ground, all they heard was zap. They landed in the middle of the middle ground. Cal and Vin were mixed up into one animal. Not long after, Calvin was being made fun of. He got so mad he wanted to breathe fire on them. The very next day, he gave a speech to a group of dragons and monkeys. He said, everyone should be treated the same, so if you want to be treated in a nice way, you should treat others nice. The next day, everyone who made fun of him felt guilty, and Calvin was never made fun of again. Moral: treat others the way you want to be treated. Now I'll read my compare and contrast piece. I am comparing and contrasting Matthias Alton's artwork, the broken mast in my artwork, Calvin the Dragon Monkey. First, the broken mast in my artwork both have animals. Next, my animal is imaginary, but his horses are not imaginary. Also, my artwork has bright colors, but his artwork has a lot of dark colors. Another comparison about our artwork, it takes place on land. Finally, my artwork has a lot of trees, but Matthias Alton's artwork has no trees. That is how Matthias Alton's artwork and my artwork are alike and different.
No. Bart,
Yeah, he's nice. He's nice.
that's okay. She doesn't have to do it. She doesn't want to shake our hand.
No, hi.
No.
That's all right.
Well, good evening, friends. I'm John Carfagno, the Director of Learning and Audience Engagement at the Grand Rapids Art Museum, and I'm here to convey our gratitude to the board for allowing us to continue this wonderful collaboration. We're so proud of Valerie and all the students who are currently exhibiting work at the Grand Rapids Art Museum and our Education Center Gallery. We invite you all to come downtown and check out that show, which will be on for several more weeks. And we're also delighted that Valerie and her family will now be members of GRAM, so they'll be able to continue their journey with the museum for the year ahead. At your seats, we've given you the gift of art from our student artists at Grand Rapids Public Schools by way of some note cards. We hope that you'll use them to spread the word about the program and also to write thank you notes or letters to friends. And we're also really excited to announce that a grant from the National Endowment for the Arts will support our work in 15-16. So we look forward to bigger and better things in the year ahead. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Nice.
Thank you very much.
Art is amazing what our kids can do.
This has become like a rite of spring, although it seems to be coming more quickly.
Yeah.
It seems like we just did this. It's like,
It was last spring.
Thanks.
This is 5 years now.
Right.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
Did you want to? Oh, Dr. Fall.
No, that's
before
all
they
right.
leave.
No, that's all right. Never mind. Bye.
Okay.
Dr. Baker and members of the board, I'd like to ask Ron Gorman to come forward, please.
Good evening. Superintendent Weatherall Neal, President Baker, and distinguished members of the Board of Education. We are here this evening to celebrate students at Innovation Central High School, specifically those who attended the USA Science and Engineering Festival in Washington, D.C. Innovation Central was selected out of 204. There were 204 schools who were invited. One of those schools was Innovation Central. The main objective of the trip was to learn more about STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and to promote STEM careers to underrepresented populations, particularly women. With me this evening to share more about the experience are Mr. Gideon Sanders, Assistant Principal at Innovation Central, and some members of Innovation Central's ex-STEM Ambassador team. Mr. Sanders.
Thank you, Mr. Gorman. Dr. Baker, Superintendent Neal, and school board members, thank you very much for allowing us to come this evening to present the experiences, or at least some of the experiences these students had in their visit to Washington, D.C. during the trip as the ex-STEM Ambassador School for the ex-STEM Symposium for the state of Michigan. There are myriad experiences that were had on this trip for students, for faculty, and for both groups together. Working with former colleagues, partners, and dignitaries from the D.C. area, we were able to really provide an extensive set of meetings and engagements for the students to imagine what STEM careers are available to them. Tonight you will hear some of the students who were on the trip. Remember that these experiences they will discuss are but a few of the entire program. The students are exceptional. Their behavior and the way they addressed people and presented themselves and the school and GRPS is a tribute to their dedication to their academics and their willingness to step outside their comfort zone for a brighter future. I would like to introduce the members of the ex-STEM Ambassador team: Fernando Pedro, Shade Salazar, Roni Miguel and Vanessa Barraza, Maggie Miller and Wendy Tidmus, and our other chaperone, who's currently working on her master's, Liz Gim, and was an integral part to the success of this trip, were unable to join us tonight. So without further hesitation, I'd like to turn it over to Fernando Pedro, who will be the first student to present to you.
Hello. Thank you for allowing me to be here tonight, President Baker, Superintendent Neal, and board members of GRPS. My name is Fernando Pedro, and I'm in the 11th grade. I attend Innovation Central High School, part of the Health Science and Technology Academy. And what I gained out of this trip is an interest in STEM careers, especially in neuroscience. I learned that neurons and electrons work together like a machine. Neurons are the senses while electrons stimulate the neurons to act upon it. I had the experience of my arm being taken control by someone else. They were able to control my arm by hooking up electrodes and firing electron charges through my arm each time the other person moved theirs. This was one of the beloved experiences I really enjoyed.
Okay. Is that close enough?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Well, firstly, I'd like to thank President Baker, Superintendent Neal, and the rest of the school board for allowing me to be here tonight. My name is Sade Salazar, and I am an 11th grader at Innovation Central High School, and I am in the Academy of Modern Engineering. We went to dinner with a man named Jim Rosebush. He is the former chief of staff to Nancy Reagan, who was the first lady. We discussed what we wanted to do with our future and our goals and how we plan on going about life. One point that really stuck with me was when he told us that without having a passion in life, we can't really enjoy life. So if we didn't know what our passion was, we wouldn't be like moved with what we do in life. So whatever we did, we wouldn't want to always put our fullest effort into it because we won't like it. So that really stuck with me. That was really good.
That's nice.
Great.
I'd like to invite Sade and Roni to come up and share their experiences as well.
That's a great
First,
tie.
you'll hear. First, you'll hear from Roni Miguel.
First off, I'd like to thank you for letting me be here tonight, President Baker, Superintendent Neal, and the rest of the school board members. My name is Ronnie Miguel, and I'm in 11th grade at Innovation Central High School, and I'm part of the Academy of Health Science and Technology. The experience in DC I'll talk about was a dinner meeting with a man named David Pender, who was a former principal at McKinley Tech, which was the STEM flagship school for DC public schools, and he was the principal for a couple of years. He was a man who led the school to have a better success and ended up directing the school to Blue Ribbon status, which is a national recognition for excellence in education. And my experience with the whole thing was intriguing. It was intriguing because of his innovative ideas to implement at schools for improvement. But not only were his ideas great, his advice was too. He recommended to us a book called Happiness, which is a psychology-based book, and that's what got me more interested into the whole conversation because I have a huge interest in the field of psychology, and I recommend this book for you all too.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Baker, Ms. Neal, and the rest of the school board for allowing me to be here today. My name is Vanessa Barraza. I'm in 11th grade, and I am a junior. I am part of the Academy of Modern Engineering. My favorite part of the trip was visiting George Washington University. We got a tour of the school, got to eat in their school cafeteria, and we also got to see their brand new engineering labs, which were very modern, high-tech, and we also got to see their chairs, which were made from steel case, which was based here in West Michigan. And it made me feel like I was at home. They also had us do mock college interviews, which was very informative. So overall, George Washington University was an eye-opener for me because I learned more about STEM careers such as bioengineering, and I also got to see how they use hands-on learning to prepare their students for future careers, which I really enjoyed.
Great. As you can see, there were a lot of varied experiences. We treated it as a business trip and kept the students moving from one to the other, yet they did take time, and we have pictures to prove it, that in the evening when we got back to the hotel, they buried themselves in their books and computers to continue doing their schoolwork. We are planning on taking this team of ex-STEM ambassadors, as well as a larger group of students, to next year's USA Science and Engineering Festival in mid-April, and we will have a similar schedule for the new students, while these 6 students will have a different experience, more college readiness, college interviews, and college visitations in the area of Washington, D.C. So thank you very much for allowing us to share.
Nice job, Gideon.
Yeah, if they're not afraid to shake our hands too.
job. Congratulations.
Nice job.
Well, some fun things happen at Innovation Central, right? So.
Oh, yeah.
All right, we
Nice
have
job.
one more celebration, it looks like.
One more celebration. Dr. Baker, members of the board, I'd like to ask Sharon Pitts to come forward.
Here. That'll be easier to access.
Hello.
Good afternoon or evening, Dr. Baker, board member, Superintendent Neal. So tonight I have the pleasure of joining the board and the superintendent in honoring and celebrating our dedicated and loyal staff who have served the students of the Grand Rapids Public Schools tirelessly and faithfully for 40 years. I'm going to introduce the 7 employees and ask their supervisors to come down and present to them their gift, and then ask that they sit here in the front row until all of the staff members have been called, and then ask that they come up and shake your hands. Okay? So we're going to start with Ermengarde Jeanette Carter. I hope Miss Carter, I got that right. Miss Carter, and Miss Carter's supervisor is Rodney Lewis. So ask Mr. Lewis to come down.
That's right.
Yeah, looks like you probably know all
Okay.
these people.
Ms. Carter is a special education teacher at Ottawa, and she's taught at Ottawa off and on. A variety of years during her career. She has been the cheerleading coach, the girls basketball coach, and has done a variety of other things at Ottawa. So that's Ms. Carter.
Very nice.
Okay.
Nice. Our
next 40th year celebrant is Teresa Furlett. Rodney Lewis is also her supervisor. Ms. Furlett is a special education teacher at Ottawa's Poe High program, and she's been doing that since 1985. She also taught at Ottawa Hills Orthopedics for almost 10 years, too. So we congratulate Ms. Furlett. Our next celebrant is Michelle Downer, and her supervisor is Esther Coopier. So Ms. Downer is now an adult education instructional aide, and she's been doing that since 2004. She's also been a community education recruiter, a teacher's aide at West Middle, and a child care aide at Mid-City Center.
Oh, long time.
Wow.
Nice job.
Ms. Kuiper, oh, don't leave. You're going to stay right here. The Director of Shared Time, and her supervisor is Carolyn Evans. She has been the Shared Time Director since 2000. She's also served as a Community Service Director, Coordinator of Community Services, Shared Time Assistant, and Community Aide.
All right.
Next, we have Eva Gillespie, and her supervisor is Arnetta Thompson. Ms. Gillespie. So Ms. Gillespie is a teacher at Sherwood Elementary. She's also taught at Ottawa Hills. She was the drama director at Ottawa and the head of the English department. She was a teacher at Creston High School, a teacher at Baxton, South High School, adult education, Central High School, and she began her career at Iroquois.
Nice.
Next, we have Loretta Thomas, our school emergency operator, and her supervisor is Larry Johnson.
Nice.
school security emergency operator since 2009. She has also served as a security receptionist at Iroquois Head Secretary, Oakdale, Career and Education Office Secretary, Youth Employment Secretary, and she began her career with us back in 1975 as a co-op department supervisor. Nice. And last but not least is our only male in the group, Mr. Peter Vanek. And his supervisor is Mike Pasco, but Mr. Gorman is going to... Ron Gorman is going to present his gift. So Mr. Vanek is a social science teacher at City. He has served as the social studies department head also at City and a stage manager at City. He was the social studies department head at Northeast, where he was the softball, basketball, and football coach. And he started his career with us as a social studies teacher at Northeast.
Nice.
Now we'd like to take an opportunity for everyone to come in and greet the board and receive congratulations from the board members. Let's start with you.
He taught all 4.
Thank you very much for everything.
I love it.
Thank you.
That's right.
How are you? 2. And 280 years.
Congratulations.
Wow.
Dr. Baker?
So
See, that's so bad when she says, I was her first boss. Now you know. True age, huh?
Thank you, Sharon. Thank you.
You chose to share that.
I'm proud of it.
That's nice. 40 years. Wow.
Yeah, there you go.
Somebody want to... Someone here.
All right, well, speaking of Mr. Atkins, the report of the student representative, would you like to start? Yeah. We can get the selfie now if you want.
I'll get it after. I won't waste your time. Okay, so first of all, again, I thank you to all the teachers and especially to Mr. Van Enck, who is a model teacher, I would say. I've had him for 2 years and truly demonstrates leadership in the way he teaches. So thank you, sir. With that said, tonight is my final night on the Board of Representatives, and I just wanted to say back in June of 2013, when my family moved here, we had the opportunity, we could decide whether I would go to Forest Hills Eastern or Rockford or City High School, and I chose City because I could tell that this district was the place where I could get the best education. And since then, things have only been looking up for this district. City's now #1. Every other day we hear about new achievements in athletics and academics alike from schools like Ottawa, Union, and Central. And because of that, other schools or other students are going to be drawn to this district. And I think that the success that this district has had is evident both in students and faculty. And in Teresa Weatherall-Neal's skyrocketing approval rating. Pretty sure she's more popular in this district now than apple pie and baseball.
I didn't pay him to say that.
So I just wanted to say, first of all, thank you to Mr. Gorman and the members of the Board of Representatives for showing me what leadership looks like in a school district. And if you ever need anybody to help out with absolutely anything for this district, whether if it's for a few hours or a few months, I'm your guy. So thank you.
You are. Nice job.
Mr. Jefferson?
How do you follow up with that? Well, I just want to say thanks for allowing me on the board. This was a great networking opportunity. I was a little afraid to connect with you all because there's a bunch of doctors and pastors on the board. But after sitting down with you all, you're normal people. So
we're not as smart as we sound, right?
And it was just great, just seeing what leadership looks like in the school district, being able to connect. A lot of the stories and celebrations I didn't even know about until now, but it really made me feel proud to be a product of GRPS and come Saturday. So thank you all.
Thank you. Nice job.
All right, voice of support for the celebrations.
Really?
Public comment board agenda items. Any cards?
No cards.
Okay. Move into reports. Secretary's report. You have anything?
Well, the only thing we have, we want to remind everyone that this week we are having quite a few celebrations, graduation from high school. City will graduate June 4th, special ed and adults June 5th, along with Ottawa, Union, and Innovation Central June 7th. So we want to invite you to celebrate in the success of not only our students but our teachers as well. They've had a great year.
Right.
All right.
And university prep.
Oh, I'm sorry, University Prep.
University Center. Superintendent's report.
I will be very brief. John will be extremely brief as he comes forward.
Rich.
All right, I've got two things, and I'm going to first start out asking Jonathan Pope to join me. Jonathan Pope is with the YMCA of Grand Rapids, and we're pleased to bring a presentation to you to share about a donation that was something we learned about a little bit different way than we normally like to learn about and reading it in the newspaper. But what's great is there's an inner city youth baseball league that's been running for years, and the YMCA is directly involved, and they had been working for years. There's 5 or 6 sites throughout the city, one of which is Raspberry Field, which a lot of people don't realize that we own that property. That's part of Grand Rapids Public Schools, but we have a joint use agreement with the city parks department, so a lot of people just perceive it as a city park. And so Jonathan and their team, along with the West Michigan Whitecaps, were able to secure a grant from Major League Baseball to the tune of over $50,000 for improvements to Raspberry Field. And so Jonathan will be able to talk a little bit more about the specifics of the grant and what it's going to fund. We learned about it, and it came as a surprise, I think, to them that we owned it and that we really needed, in fact, the board to approve this. And so we're here today to share with you the great news about these much-needed improvements. And that's it. I'll turn it over to Jonathan. Be brief.
Well, I will. I promise. I promise. Thank you, John. Thank you to the superintendent and president and the members of the board for allowing me to come and talk a little bit about the program. Like John just pointed out, we have been partnering with the West Michigan Whitecaps, Fifth Third Bank, the Grand Rapids Parks and Recs for about 20 years to provide free baseball to our kids in our community. 2 things we wanted to do was remove the barrier, financial barrier, for all of our kids to play baseball. And secondly, we wanted to make sure that they could play somewhere near their homes, so they didn't have to worry about transportation. So we do utilize neighborhood parks, Garfield, Aberdeen, Richmond, Plaster Creek, and recently Raspberry Field. And as John pointed out, we have been working with the Parks and Recs Department, the city of Grand Rapids. And in doing that, we identified Raspberry as a great opportunity, great neighborhood, kids in need. We wanted to have a presence there, but to make the field playable, we needed to get some big money, some deep pockets. So we tapped the grant opportunities with Major League Baseball, and we were able to land a substantial amount of money. Some of the things that we want to do is skim the grass infield, replace it with a clay surface, add base anchors, put an irrigation system in, seeding and restoration of disturbed areas, weeding, fertilization, field maintenance program, backstop work, dugout work, and make it a really nice field for the community, not just for our program, but for the community. So in doing that, we wanted to make sure before we move forward that we brought that to your attention, got your permission, A, to do the renovations, and B, to utilize the field. We don't envision playing games on it this summer because that work is pretty extensive, and it might take place pretty much throughout the latter part of the summer. So, but we'd like to utilize that field in the future. And again, wanted to bring that to your attention and get that permission.
Any questions?
No, but my wonder is, John, if the board would need additional time and take it through finance to receive the gift, rather than accept a gift at this point. I'm not real sure what the wishes of the board would be at this point to accept the $50,000 gift.
Make a motion to accept the gift at this time. Yeah, I'm on finance, and I certainly don't have any problem with. I mean, the purpose of the finance committee is to streamline things, right? I mean. And if this is an expedient matter, then
how does that?
As the chair of the
chair of the.
I totally agree with Mr. LeGrand, and I believe Mr. Ross also was indicating that this is a valuable asset. And I suppose we can thank the city for assuming and taking the lead on this and helping get this money and feeling like this would be something that we can access and that the community can benefit from. So I don't see any problem.
Normally we wouldn't do it this way. We would follow through normal process,
Right.
but some surprises were there, and so we wanted to bring it because some of the work they're ready to get going on.
Okay. And I'm on the finance committee too, so I also agree.
Great.
Yes,
we got a
and
consensus.
Dr. Flores?
And we will,
Yes.
we'll leave it on our action item. When we get to our action items, we'll vote on it later. So, great.
All right, okay. Thank you. Thank you.
I just want to make a comment.
Oh, yeah.
I just want to make a comment. I hate to admit this, but I just found out who Derek Jeter was recently. I was at the econ.
Can you believe that?
That's terrible. But one of the many things, he was so impressive, but one of the points he made that was so significant was how troubled he was at seeing a growing divide of inequity with young players coming up because of the amount of money families of means can put into training their children. And it was very troubling to hear that. He felt like it was changing the sport. So this is just thrilling to know that this is happening in our own community to try to mitigate that gap. So thank you.
Thank you.
And I want to add that knowing Mr. Ted Raspberry and the Raspberry family, it gives a great legacy, not just to the community, but to his name as well, as being one of the owners of the Black Sox. So I think that if we could see that thing really develop and put a team on there, possibly we can name it the Grand Rapids Board of Ed baseball team.
We can work on that.
Yeah.
That was a good name.
The fighting board members.
But thank you, John.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Carolyn, we want to, as Carolyn's making her way up there, Mr. Atkins, would love to talk with you about your future political career. We can help. We can work on that.
But he's got a bond campaign he's working on. That's right.
And so can Mr. Atkins.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly.
Work on the bond campaign.
So the second item is I guess a bit of another very welcome surprise, and it actually started on May 5th at the University Prep's Sweet Success fundraiser, where Dr. Baker and Dr. Falb and I happened to be speaking with Mr. John Kennedy. And among other things, Mr. Kennedy proceeded to share his involvement with the governor and the legislature working on the third grade reading improvements. There's a work group that was formed around third grade reading, third grade proficiency. It's a bipartisan, bicameral committee that John Kennedy chairs. And he was sharing with us his excitement about what he'd heard about best practices and some things that were helping to formulate their thinking for these recommendations. These recommendations, by the way, are expected to come out very soon, and we'll obviously be briefing all of you, and we're familiar with what they are already, and they're very much in line with the Board of Ed's position paper. In fact, we'd like to believe that we helped shape that. We were one of the first public districts that got out, we were the first public school district that got out publicly in support of a statewide focus on this third grade reading. And so in there he said, you know, I have learned about a best practice about a summer literacy program that Grand Valley State University helps to administer. It's very heavy on teaching and learning, heavy on professional development and training around how teachers are taught to teach literacy. And he said he would be willing to, he asked for a meeting, we had a good meeting with him, and he's pledged up to $250,000 for a pilot program this summer at 3 different school sites. And the goal is that the work would be done in line with really what the recommendations are, and then based on the success of this could be a model that could be replicated throughout the entire state of Michigan. And Mr. Kennedy's, as you know, is a huge supporter of University Prep Academy. He's come alongside with us even more so ever since, and this is a very unique opportunity for GRPS and our teachers and our schools and students to play a role in helping to shape what the future of literacy looks like in the state of Michigan. So Carolyn is here to talk a little bit, want to share a little bit more about the specifics of what it is that we're doing.
Good evening, Superintendent Neal and members of the board. Superintendent Neal, I heard you say that we needed to be brief, so I will do so. But given our limited amount of time, if there is but one thing that I would leave, and that is every great effort needs a reason. So this great effort and the reason for my involvement and my excitement around is very personal. I watched a gentleman for 50 years cover up the fact that he could not read. And he went to great lengths. Every first of the month coming to our home, shutting a door, and I'm standing outside wondering what's going on. But he was having his important papers read to him. This initiative has great historical relevance, not just to African Americans, but to many families and communities that traveled to this country with the hope of a good education, a great education. And literacy is the foundation of that effort. Just to be very brief, thank you, Superintendent Neal. We have selected 3 schools to be a part of this pilot. They are Brookside, Campus, and Martin Luther King. These principals, or the principals that lead these schools, are heavily engaged in literacy efforts currently, and we feel that they will be ideally suited to take on this challenge. Currently, we have between 30 and 40 teachers who are willing to give up their summers for 5 days to be trained in interventions and to ratchet up the impact of our skills instructional base block. The purpose of our training and the focus of our training will be around providing teachers skills that will embellish our center-based instruction. You all hear Dr. Falb talk about the constructivist approach. We strongly believe that kids learn most deeply when they are constructing their own information. Teachers will learn to use diagnostic tools. If you've ever tried to repair reading deficits, you know that the deficits are vast, and you have to be very targeted. So strong and effective diagnostic tools are extremely important. And then also there will be a strong emphasis on direct instruction. It has proven over and over in research to be one of the most impactful strategies that we can offer. We expect to launch this pilot this summer, but we are convinced that this is work that we will carry on over the next few years, and that we will learn and others will learn as they peer over our shoulders. We look forward to this opportunity. We will be partnering, we believe, with the University of Michigan, and as Superintendent Neal has asked us to do, we will also conduct an internal evaluation. So we are looking forward to both impacting the results for students, but also learning as being a part of the process.
Great. Thank you.
Yep. Tony? Yeah.
Yes, please, go ahead.
Well, I just, I'll repeat my remarks that you both heard on Thursday night, but I think what is so, I just want to thank Mr. Kennedy for his leadership and what he expressed to me as he examined his dedication for how doable this work is and how essential it is, and giving of his own personal funds and both his trust in our district to pilot it and perhaps set an example for the rest of the state. It's exciting times, and I just want to express my gratitude to Mr. Kennedy and to the team. Just take it up so quickly. I know there's a lot on your plate.
That was just a few weeks ago.
There's a lot on your plate, but that's how we do it at GRPS.
That's how we roll.
Get it done. So.
But we also know that it will impact our work over the next few months, and it's very exciting, very exciting.
Good.
Yeah.
Dr. Baker, I would just add that we will keep the board in the loop every step of the way. We've just not had a chance to provide you with the information, but we will do that with this program. You should talk about the summer hours.
My third item, yes.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you.
Which is actually the reason.
Thank you, Julie Anderson.
That's actually the reason you were invited
That's right.
up.
That's right. A bunch of things.
That's okay, Jeff.
Lucky I'm not giving the bond presentation, because that's what's been in my head. I keep giving it over and over again. So we are approaching the end of the school year, 4 more days, and we will be entering into our summer hours as well as some of our summer events. The last day of school will be this Friday, June 5th, which is a half day for all students. We will begin our summer district hours on Monday, June 8th. This is where we will switch to a 4-day work week and 10-hour days. And so Monday through Thursday will be open from 7:30 a.m. till 4:30 p.m. And we'll be closed Fridays beginning June 12th through August 21st. Of course, central office staff will be around to assist and will be accessible during those times. The other 2 big events that I want you to mark your calendar on and is for the Success Fest. This is the partnership with Believe to Become and the Baby Scholars graduation. This is an opportunity to celebrate the summer programming that's being done, as well as those baby scholars who will be graduating. This is scheduled for Thursday, July 16th from 3 to 7 p.m. at Gerald R. Ford Academic Center. And it'll be indoors if it's raining. Otherwise, it's kind of like a mini park party that we anticipate. You know, last year we've had thousands there in the past, and so it's free food, kids games, bounce house activities, as well as important back-to-school information, much like what we do at the zoo with our big back-to-school celebration. Speaking of which, mark your calendar, August 13th from 4 to 8 p.m. is our annual big back-to-school celebration at John Ball Park. City High Middle School is where we will move it to if it's rain delay. We'll continue it on that day. We'll simply move it. And again, same thing. Free food, kids games, activities, and all the back-to-school information you'll ever need. Last year we had more than 5,000 people participate, and last year we had sponsors that covered nearly all the costs associated with it. I don't remember the exact amount, but I believe it was over $10,000 we raised from sponsors, and Kelly tells me that we're exceeding that this year already. So lots of good things happening.
Thank you, John.
Great.
Thank you, Dr. Baker.
Right. Now we move into several action items. And the first action item is the superintendent's evaluation. Can I get a motion to approve the superintendent's evaluation?
Motion to approve superintendent's evaluation.
Support.
Ms. Slade, would you like to start us with this?
I will. We have reviewed documents, information, everything we could think of to evaluate our superintendent particularly in the areas of implementing the transformation plan, involving parent and community partners in our work, improvement in student academic growth, student attendance, progress toward our school improvement plan. We try to increase student, teacher, parent feedback, and implementing the evaluation of teachers and administrators. All of this to make sure this district remains on such a high roll that we are right now. And I'm pleased to say that after a lot of work and a lot of review, we have rated our superintendent as very highly effective. And we're very pleased to have you and continue your good work. So,
Would anyone else like to add? Mr. LeGrand?
Well, I think that those of us on the board saw this coming when we saw the state of the schools. If we didn't see it coming before then, I mean, I think this is a reflection of really just incredible work on our superintendent's part. And I know that she's quick to spread credit, and of course it is a community effort to get all this done, but leaders are important too. And it's really, I am absolutely convinced in my bones, fortunate, incredibly fortunate to have Teresa doing the work that she's doing and working for this district and making a huge impact on thousands of children and through them on the community at large. And I can't say how gratified I am personally to see the work on all fronts, on improving graduation rates, on improving test scores, on substantive deep work at making sure that we have the right people doing the right work, and on keeping our kids in the classrooms. And that's all just really exciting stuff to see happening. So, and to see that people are flocking to our district, which is great. So I'm looking forward to next year and to seeing more growth in the same direction. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. LeGrand.
Dr. Reynolds, do you want?
Oh, I just wanted a couple comments. It's been a pleasure working with the superintendent over the years since she's come on board. The trajectory is just incredible. So students, the community should be very grateful for all the hard work that you put in. And technically, it's only highly effective. There isn't a very highly effective.
highly effective.
But she is an overachiever.
Thank you.
Technically.
Capital letters. Thank you.
I thought Mr. LeGrand was going to point that out. But.
Somebody's always picking.
I'm not.
You know,
I'm not a nitpicker. I'm sorry.
Thank you, but you're very highly effective.
Thank you. Thank you.
So our superintendent continually expresses her discomfort with being the front person. She says she's a behind-the-scenes person. And it's hard, I think, for a lot of people to believe that because you're such a good front person and you are a good public speaker. But I think what the public doesn't see is what a great behind-the-scenes person you are. And what I see in this evaluation, followed by the former one, and I see how deeply you dig, and you don't stop. You keep uncovering it. You're a systemic thinker. You've looked at the system as a whole, and you haven't been afraid to look at what was wrong. And you've taken the best research, the best practices, and you have tried to look at what will make a difference for these children. And I'm impressed at how many levels you've done this. And I think we've only begun to see the substance of that leadership. So I have great hopes for the future. I think it'll be a game changer, not just for the children in this community, but the entire community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have to say, the public trust. I talked to a colleague today. I said I had to leave early to go do the superintendent evaluation, and the person was like, geez, she shouldn't have anything to worry about. It's like everybody I hear talks about her so good. So academic growth, the transformation plan, the way it's responsive, the growth, opening of schools, enrollment growth has been incredible. I want to kind of follow up on Dr. Falb's things. I mean, in a way, as I've gotten to know her, not just because of the work for obviously running Grand Rapids Public Schools, but the work around higher education, the work around early childhood, this is going to sound sappy, but it's almost like, and I think this fits with what Wendy was trying to say, it's almost like a conductor about, and this isn't just about how do we run Grand Rapids Public Schools, this is like, is like your direction of the systems that impact the way children are educated and then grow up to be educated is really the way the work is. And I think that that's that behind the scenes work that you don't see, because it's not how we measure Grand Rapids Public Schools, but the fact is, though, is it's the respect comes because of your influence on education as a whole. So I want to applaud it, and I would say very highly effective, too. So. Technically, it's just highly effective, so. Pastor Moody.
Dr. Baker and Superintendent, what I want to say is that since I first came on the board, there seems to have been a lot of hostility with the previous superintendent. And this board really expressed that at that time. But it's a joy to sit here and see the expressions on this board, especially those of you who had the opportunity to be with the previous superintendent, to see that there is some real strong growth. And I think that leadership is not just with yourself, but it's also with this board as well.
That's right.
Who had the value in valuing you and seeing that you were the most effective person for the job.
Yeah.
So I want to say thank you to the board for choosing this superintendent to lead our school district.
Thank you, Pastor Moody. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, I just want to echo some of that, and also just the sense of empowering the employees to be able to do their sphere of influence and to be creative. I've seen that side of that leadership, which is very empowering, including parents to be able to say what they feel and feel like they're going to get some response as well. We certainly, as you know, have a lot of work to do still, but I think, as was pointed out, we're not afraid to look at those pieces and begin to continue to work at it. So that's really exciting to be part of that, especially from the Hispanic community, to feel like they're starting to be part of that process as well. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right. I guess we can vote. You want to call the roll?
Dr. Phelps.
Yes.
Dr. Flores.
Yes.
Mr. LeGrand.
Yes.
Matias, yes. Pastor Moody.
Yes.
Dr. Randalls.
Yes.
Mr. Ross.
Yes.
Ms. Slade.
Yes.
President Baker.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, our next action item is the donation of the summer literacy program, which we heard about earlier. Can I get a
Move to
motion?
approve.
Support.
We need any further discussion?
Let's go for it.
Thank you for that early presentation, Mr. Helmholt. So it helps us move it along. All right, you can call the roll.
Dr. Phelps.
Yes.
Dr. Flores.
Yes.
Mr. LeGrand.
Yes.
Matias, yes. Pastor Moody.
Yes.
Dr. Randalls.
Yes.
Mr. Ross.
Yes.
Ms. Slade.
Yes.
President Baker.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, next is the donation for the Raspberry Field.
Move for approval.
Support.
Support.
All right, call the roll.
Dr. Phelps.
Yes.
Dr. Flores.
Yes.
Mr. LeGrand.
Yes.
Reverend Matias, yes. Pastor Moody.
Yes.
Dr. Randalls.
Yes.
Mr. Ross.
Yes.
Ms. Slade.
Yes.
Dr. Baker.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, again, that motion passed as well. And then the purchasing agenda.
Move for approval.
Support.
Any discussion? All right.
Okay, Dr. Phelps.
Yes.
Dr. Flores.
Yes.
Mr. LeGrand.
Yes.
Matias, yes. Pastor Moody.
Yes.
Dr. Randalls.
Yes.
Mr. Ross, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Ms. Slade.
Yes.
President Baker.
Yes.
Okay.
And then finally, consent agenda grouping.
Move for approval of the consent agenda.
Support.
Let you get caught up here.
Okay.
Ready? Okay.
Yep.
Call the roll.
Okay. Dr. Phelps.
Yes.
Dr. Flores.
Yes.
Mr. LeGrand.
Yes.
Matias, yes. Pastor Moody.
Yes.
Dr. Randalls.
Yes.
Mr. Ross.
Yes.
Ms. Slade.
Yes.
President Baker.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, so we do have a discussion item, and this is for the MASB membership 2015-2016 renewal.
Dr. Baker?
Yes.
I would recommend renewal, given the discussion we had on Friday regarding board development. I think that there's tremendous usefulness of being a member of MASB. They provide significant resources as well as advocacy work.
Anyone else have any?
No, I think that we certainly need to continue that membership. It's important to make contacts throughout the state with our colleagues, and we were provided a lot of good information, sharing a lot of work.
Yeah, I'd say in times of crisis in the past, we've needed to call on them, and then certainly in good times when we're trying to maintain the momentum, we've called on them and do board training, et cetera, and so it's been very helpful. So I don't know if we have to necessarily vote on that, but it sounds like we have support from the board to continue as members. All right. Public comment agenda and/or non-agenda items. I have Mary Bowens. Bowens.
Sorry. I do that at every meeting.
Mary Bowens. Any other interest in public comment?
We'll have you.
1 minute warning.
1 minute?
You know, I don't do this very often, so you can tell that I must feel very strongly about what I'm going to speak about. So, Ms. Neal, Dr. Baker. I focused my first year as the GREA president to learn more about recruiting and retaining teachers for GRPS. I've met with Sharon Pitts and John Helmholt. We've talked about things that we can do in the district. I've talked and scheduled times to meet with new hires with the mentor coordinator, something that GREA does routinely. GREA has provided professional development to support teachers with employment and professional issues, and I've even gotten to go on a couple recruiting visits to a couple colleges this fall, or this spring. So I'm pretty committed to the young teachers and the opportunities for them to feel the excitement of teaching the next generation of kids in Grand Rapids Public Schools. But today my concern lies with the treatment of the current professional staff and the process of vacancy and transfer policies that the district has. Some of the following are examples of the lack of respect that I see for our dedicated teachers. Staff are being required to bid, interview, and do a sample lesson to an empty room just to stay in their current position. We have some very senior staff with over 30 years who are being told that they're going to be reassigned, then told they had an interview for a job similar to the current position with the 2 days notice and no access to their personnel file, and try to create a resume of over 30 years when their entire career has been spent with Grand Rapids Public Schools. Staff is being told that they can't apply for positions because of their evaluation observation rating, even with a voluntary transfer letter. After years of stellar evaluations and documented student growth, one observation by one administrator rating them minimally effective has caused undue anxiety and fear for them to not have their job next year. So staff is not feeling, and of course you know these stories spread, so it happens to one person and the whole building knows, or the whole department. So they're not feeling the respect that I think they deserve, and when you reduce professionals to human capital, you've diminished their worth as the teachers of your children. When you make people perform lessons to empty rooms, you don't see the art of teaching, and you miss the magic of watching student growth. And this is something I just saw the other day, and I keep saying it. When people feel respected, they do more than is expected. These stories are heartbreaking to hear when you talk to staff who've dedicated their entire careers to Grand Rapids Public Schools. And I would ask that you treat the staff with the respect that professionals deserve.
Thank you very much. Superintendent comments?
I'd like to just remind everyone graduation is June 4th, 5th, and 6th. And I'd also like to comment on the evaluation, my evaluation. I want to thank the board for taking the time to really look at the data and to give me feedback. It's been a long process. It didn't just start tonight. We started this about 9 months ago, and we've worked through it. And so I just really appreciate the time and the energy that has been spent on this evaluation, especially for children and parents and the staff. It really has been very difficult for the board to make the hard decisions, but I appreciate all of the energy that you put in. And then I want to thank my cabinet as well as the other staff members in this district, because it truly is because of the team. It's all of the staff members in this district that we've been able to turn things around and do such great work.
Thank you very much. Board member comments, start with Ms. Slade.
No further comments from me.
Dr. Randalls.
Congratulations once again, and it's nice to hear about the investment for the summer reading program. That's very, very exciting.
Pastor Moody.
Dave told me not to make any comments.
He's in a hurry.
Well, then neither will I.
He said he wasn't either. So.
No comments. No comment.
I just want to give my appreciation to everybody that brought those kids to graduation that we're going to see across the stage on Saturday. My deep respect and appreciation to all the work that happened to bring them there.
Just thank you, Superintendent Neal, for everything. It's been a pleasure. And Mr. Atkins and Mr. Jefferson.
Yeah, you guys are great.
You guys, your leadership has been appreciated as well.
Thank you.
Mr. Jefferson, would you like to make any comment?
Well, thank you for the opportunity once again, and it's been nice working with you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, not just for allowing me to serve in this position, but for the service that you provide our schools.
Thank you very much. And I actually have something for each of you.
Aw,
Right.
nice.
Right.
Very nice. That's very nice.
So make sure I get this right.
Part of your resumes.
That's right. Nice.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
And John will have you guys floating for the bonus.
Nice.
All right.
Very good.
You know, I want to thank Mr. Gorman for his efforts
That's right.
to really up the
That's right.
expectations for this position. And I think that it's pretty obvious that the two of you, and I know that there's reasons for you all to be on there in terms of your own growth and networking and opportunities, but you know, it really helps us to get a measure of where we're at. And so your service is really great. And again, congratulations, Superintendent, very well deserved.
Thank you.
And thank you very much. We're adjourned.
Good job.
Hey, Dr. Baker. See you.
All right, we'll see you.